This is one of Missouri's proud automotive suppliers. For more than 100 years, automotive production has been a pillar of Missouri's economy. It's always an honor to spend time with our state's talented and professional automotive industry workers and see the excellence that you exhibit every day, making the products that make America competitive. I'm pleased to be joined today by a member of my cabinet, the Department of Economic Development Director, David Kerr. David is my point person on job creation and economic issues, and he is working constantly to ensure that the automotive jobs of the future are located right here in the Show Me State. I'm also pleased to be joined, and you'll hear from a couple of local legislators who are strong advocates of the automotive industry. A graduate of this plant, Senator Rob Mayer, and our great friend, Representative Billy Pat Wright. Also, we're joined by Representative Steve Hodges. We appreciate him coming up with us today. Also great to have, Janet Coleman from the Dexter Chamber, as well as the Mayor, Weber, and the City Administrator with us today. We tremendously appreciate that. It's also great to be joined by our friends from the UAW today, Bobby Thompson and Louis C. We appreciate your constant work for the working men and women of our state. Now, automotive manufacturing is a highly competitive business. You know that. Today, the manufacturers are reassessing their product lines and restructuring their operations to keep pace with changes in a global industry. Ford, which is a major manufacturing facility in this state at Clay Como in Clay County, is no exception. But Missouri's automotive industry reaches far beyond that plant where the final piece is put on those trucks and those hybrids. Faurecia is more than 400 miles from Clay Como, but it is a vital link in the chain of automotive suppliers that touches every corner of our state. Here at Faurecia, more than 900 talented men and women make emissions control equipment for the automotive industry. That's what you do. And one of your plant's biggest, almost 30% of your business is Ford. In fact, business with Ford accounts for hundreds of millions of dollars in sales from this plant and hundreds of jobs every year. The jobs here at Faurecia are good-paying jobs, and the men and women who hold them are vital to this community. And the strength of this facility and dozens other like it, suppliers all across the Show Me State, depends on the strength of Ford. Ford suppliers are located all across Missouri, in communities like Columbia, Nixon, Joplin, Hannibal, Mexico, Kansas City. In total, the automotive industry contributes $4 billion a year annually to Missouri's economy. When it comes to automotive production, we're talking about real businesses, real workers, real families all across our state. It is vital that we come together now to protect these jobs and to bring the automotive jobs of tomorrow to the Show Me State. It's clear that Ford is thinking about their future. And in the coming weeks, the company will be finalizing decisions about how it will structure its production operations for years to come. It's also clear that the fate of the Clay Como operation and the Missouri Supplier Network are a central part of that conversation. Right now, Ford is designing the vehicles of the future and determining where those vehicles are going to be built. As state leaders, our job is to make sure those next generation operations are located right here in Missouri. Now, for months, I've been in regular communications with Ford executives in Michigan. Director Kerr and I even traveled to Dearborn several months ago to meet personally with the CEO, Alan Mullally, and his senior management team. These efforts follow up earlier work by my Automotive Job Task Force, which I put in place the day after I was sworn in as governor. As Ford makes its decisions, it is vital that the company has clarity and certainty about the incentive package Missouri is able to put on the table. Legislation to provide that certainty was introduced during the General Assembly's regular session, but unfortunately it fell short at the finish line. In recent weeks, other states, including Michigan, have come forward with competitive incentive packages to snag those next-generation automotive jobs. We want those jobs in Missouri, and we must come together now to make sure Missouri is the best position possible to compete for those jobs. That's why, after numerous conversations with legislative leaders from both parties and both chambers, I called the General Assembly into special session on June 24th of this year to pass the Missouri Auto Manufacturing Jobs Act. But since the General Assembly convened nearly 2 weeks ago, that legislation has become unnecessarily stalled. You and I know that when it comes to their future, Missouri's hardworking families don't have time for delay. Because of Ford's desire to make decisions about its operation in the coming weeks, I call on the legislative leaders to get their work done and to reach an agreement on passing a strong jobs bill this week. Let's get that agreement this week. This is the week to stand up for automotive manufacturing jobs in Missouri. This is the week to support working families in every corner of our state. And this is the week to reach agreement on passing bills vital to that jobs legislation. We simply do not have time to lose. The Missouri Auto Manufacturing Jobs Act would help automotive manufacturers create next-generation production jobs here in our state. The act would provide incentives to companies to make major capital investments in automotive production, and that put Missourians to work on those production lines. The incentives would allow manufacturers to retain withholding taxes for production jobs typically remitted to the state. Those incentives would be triggered only after a company is making a major investment and next-generation auto workers are actually on the job. So we don't pay up front. They invest, we work together to make new products. They keep a piece of the withholding tax to help them pay for some of the significant capital investments they've got to make. It's the smart way to do the deal. Strict requirements will force a company to repay the incentives if they fell short on the investment. And the total amount of incentives for the lines in the manufacturing plant and out in the state will be capped at $15 million a year. Let me clearly reiterate, under this act, incentives won't be paid until a manufacturer is making a major investment in Missouri and next-generation workers are actually on the job. While these economic tools are essential, the state has to be able to offset those costs. I'm committed to paying for these incentives as we go, and the legislation to offset the costs has been introduced as well. As governor, my beliefs about our automotive industry are clear. America's auto manufacturers are going to produce new generations of vehicles, and they're going to do so in America. Our choice is whether they do it in Missouri. And because of the hardworking men and women here in Dexter and across our state, I am confident that if we match these tools, they'll do it right here. You feel that increased demand already. You feel the Ford products that you're making here. You're seeing them run off the line. You understand that's a company that's wants to grow in America, but we're in a competitive world. We got to compete with Michigan. We got to put it on the line, and now is the time to do it. Our automotive industry is poised for growth in this country. We went from a high of 16 million a few years ago down to 11 million vehicles 2 years ago because of the recession. We're going back. We're going back up. They're going to make more vehicles. There's going to be more demand. And we've got the talent to build those. The professionalism and the training that you have had is second to none. No other workers anywhere in the world can do what you do. So we're betting on you, the men and women of our automotive industry, because you've got the skills, the determination, and the dedication to lead our automotive industry to its next century of growth. When it comes to getting the economy going again, I'm a big believer that when they talk about gross national product, GNP, you got to have the P. You got to have products. It's in the service economy. We got to make things, and we got to build them, and we got to sell them. And that's if we abrogate this field, if we get away from that, we will back up. So I urge the leaders of the General Assembly to work quickly and work together to pass this vital legislation, because Missouri's working families, just like yours, are counting on us. Very clearly, this is the week to reach an agreement to pass the Missouri Automotive Jobs Manufacturing Act. Together, we can ensure another century of growth and innovation for the automotive industry in Missouri. I want to thank you all for taking a couple of minutes of your time and listening to this. It's a vital message. These leaders wouldn't be with us today if they didn't feel strongly also. I want to make sure, though, we give them a chance to say something if they'd like to. Senator, if there's anything you'd like to add, you're more than welcome.